Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, and then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted the number 1 would be Captain Marvel, number 2 would be Wonder Park, number 3 would be Captive State, number 4 would be 5 Feet Apart, and number 5 would be How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World. And I only got 2 out of 5 of my predictions right for this week. I had a little bit too much faith in one of these films and not enough faith in another one. So let's go over what actually happened in the top 10. Number 1 was once again Captain Marvel, only having about a 54% drop from last weekend, which is about on average with pretty much any other Marvel film. So this movie actually isn't really getting affected by any controversy of any kind. It's having a pretty normal domestic run so far, making $69 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $266 million, which is quite outstanding right now. Worldwide, it is sitting at $760 million, and that's $240 million away from getting to $1 billion worldwide. And I think it's definitely going to get there, which is actually pretty spectacular for this film. Is it one of the best MCU films? No, but the fact that it is making so much is actually quite surprising that I can't help but root for it, honestly. Number 2 is Wonder Park, only making $16 million, adding to a worldwide total of $20 million. Now, usually for an animated film, this is not very good, especially for a film like this, because its budget is kind of listed at around 80 to 100 million on Wikipedia, so somewhere around there, and it needed a lot more, I'd say, this weekend to ensure that they might be able to double that budget. So I think it might be a little too early to some, but I think it's okay to maybe call this a flop right now because it doesn't look like it's going to last too much longer. Number 3 was 5 Feet Apart. I didn't expect it to get to number 3, but it did, making $13 million on a budget of $7 million, which is only $1 million off from doubling that budget, which is pretty good for an opening weekend for this film. I honestly thought this movie didn't have enough attention to really almost double its budget on its opening weekend, but hey, it did, and some people like it out there, so that's pretty good for itself, and I'm actually kind of surprised by that. Number 4 is How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, still doing very well, making $9 million, adding to a domestic total of $135 million. It still has about $40 million to go until it outgrosses the other How to Train Your Dragon films, like How to Train Your Dragon 2, but this is still a pretty good number, especially since worldwide it is sitting at $466 million, $34 million away from getting to $500 million worldwide. That's spectacular for this film. I'm hoping that it just continues to grow while it's still here in the top 10. Number 5 was A Medea Family Funeral, making $8 million, adding to a domestic total of $59 million, and of course it is almost at the tripling point for its $20 million budget. Of course, we know that these Medea movies do very well. I don't know where the surprise is for some people out there. I'm not sure if anyone is even surprised about it, so I think we can just move on to number 6, which is No Manches Frida 2, making $3.8 million on a budget of I don't really know what. I really don't have much to say about this film because I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to move right on to number 7, Captive State. I had a little bit too much faith in this film to get into the top 5 and instead open at number 7, only making $3.1 million. There's no worldwide total for this right now, but its budget is at $25 million, so I think it's safe to say that this is pretty much a flop and we're not going to see too much of this film in the next coming weeks. Some might be disappointed by this because when I checked Rotten Tomatoes on Friday, I haven't checked it since, but this movie actually had a surprise kind of positive reception to it. Once again, don't know if it's still the same way, but I saw the film. I haven't reviewed it yet. I'm going to try to soon, but man, I was not expecting such a decent response. I thought it was a pretty bad movie, so I'm not surprised that not too many people are going to see it. Number 8 is The Lego Movie 2, the second part, making $2 million this weekend, finally getting past $100 million domestically, sitting at $101 million. Worldwide, it is only at $171 million, so it needs $27 million more to double its $99 million budget. Once again, it opened in a couple other places this weekend and next weekend, so I'm hoping that the next 2 weeks can maybe bring the worldwide total up a bit, past $200 million worldwide at least. I'm hoping for anything at this point. I just want this movie to win at something right now. Number 9, we have Alita Battle Angel, making $1.9 million, adding to a domestic total of $81 million. Worldwide, it is sitting at $394, so $6 million until they get to $400 million worldwide, which is fantastic. Still waiting any news on if they're going to make a sequel or not, but I think we might be able to see one at some point considering the numbers it's gotten. And number 10, closing out the video, Green Book. I think the official last time that we're going to see this Best Picture winner, making $1.2 million, adding to a domestic total of $82 million, and worldwide it is sitting at $274 million. So $26 million off from getting $300 million worldwide. I don't think it's going to do that since it is about to leave the top 10, but this is still a pretty good number for this film, especially since the budget was relatively pretty low. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. I think it's going to be pretty obvious since there's only one major release. Number 1, I think, will be Us. I think Jordan Peele has enough credit to his name that more people are going to go out and see this film for an opening weekend. Number 2, I think, will be Captain Marvel. Number 3, Wonder Park. Number 4, 5 Feet Apart. And number 5, How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.